Transform your business into a towering giant in your industry. Give your entire company the confidence you wish you had plenty of. We're not talking about the high-powered soap bubbles of puffed up, prepped up, propped up pickle juice that beginning salesmen are told to smear on their refrigerator doors and steamed over bathroom mirrors in order to give enough confidence to walk into the lion's den. They need something to pop into the oven to get them going out there where the lion's share of leftovers is left over and hotly squabbled over until the game's over. No, we're not offering that kind of confidence. We are offering the training and skills you need to have in abundance. When you use these jewels, your confidence builds until your dreams spill over into broad daylight and those walls impossible to climb turn into an open road stretching out to the promised land. Be honest with yourself. Isn't that the kind of confidence you want your business to be known for? Now, if I'm wrong about you, now is the time and place to turn around and walk away. It is safer back there. It is smarter for some people to go back there empty-handed. I hope you are one of them, if maybe I am wrong about you. I trained some young girls to face a large audience one time. Their ages varied from 10 to 11. They had every right to be frightened out of their wits when I asked them to pick a subject and write the message they experienced when discussing that subject. They were asked to ask no help from parents or siblings. To let every part of their presentation be their own mind and will. There would be over 100 people peering back at them out there. I explained that facing a live audience was considered to be one of the most daunting situations they would ever face. To allay their fears, I explained that the size of an audience made no difference. I have seen grown men turn into spineless jellyfish at the mere thought of speaking to an audience of 3 or less. But let me ask you this, are you sure you're truly frightened? You know, it could really be eagerness that dries your mouth and makes sweat pour from every pore. I had their interest. You should know that your body literally cannot tell the difference between fear and eagerness. You are the one that must decide. Each time you are the one in charge. You must tell your body what it is that you face. Every time. Is there really something out there that makes your knees feel weak and your chin turn around backwards as your eyes search desperately for some place to hide? There are times when you should run. But most of the time, standing still is the best course. Sometimes standing still is the only course open to you. But then, there are times the safest thing you can do is charge. With all these options, it is no wonder you were given the responsibility to decide what it is you are facing. Then you must tell your body that you are a hero this time. And you will fearlessly charge the very gates of Babylon when the opportunity is made available to you. Whack off all the labels of less than generous praise that plague you. Remember, you are a child of God. Greater things are expected of you. There are many tools to help you see the right choice to make, and instantly, make it. I ask you to embrace the clear-eyed beauty of unshakable courage that invites your body to recognize it is time to flood your blood with all the quivering stimulations it can withstand. I ask you to be a hero with goosebumps, not a hungry jellyfish trapped by a few hideous grains of sand. But listen, you've got a business to run, and I don't want to take up any more of your time than I have to. Let's get down to business. This is Lynn Stone, signing off. Visit me at cstonebooks.com, all rights reserved, in the year of our Lord, 2020.
John Quincy Adams once said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." Leadership is arguably the single most important value your organization can benefit from. But how do we incorporate it into our businesses and into our lives? How do we embody it in the workplace? And how do we develop it, not only in ourselves, but in those around us and below us as well? Because true leadership is not just about developing yourself or managing others. It's about affecting positive growth and transformation in the people you work with. In this course, we're going to show you how to do exactly that.
So there's a crisis in leadership today, perhaps one of the greatest we've ever faced. And it's all because of the leadership gap. You see, 77% of companies are currently experiencing leadership shortfalls, with that number expected to rise to 84% in the coming year or so. What that means is that the older generation of leaders at various levels of the company ladder are, well, getting old. They're retiring, they're moving on, they're dying. And thanks to the demographic winter that the developed world has been cooking up for itself since the 1960s, those leaders are not getting replaced by younger people fit for the job. Or rather, they might be getting replaced, but the picking's kind of slim. Because for the most part, it's going to be millennials filling the gaps. And I'm not here to bash millennials, but they really haven't been getting shaped into leaders throughout their lives or careers. Leadership is simply a value that's been getting ignored for the last few decades, both in business and in education. So not only do we have a situation where there's a smaller population of potential leaders to choose from, but the ones who are there don't have the ideal level of leadership skills. In fact, in a recent study, 63% of millennials acknowledged they haven't been receiving the leadership development they need in order to face the challenge ahead. For all the reasons above, a whopping 89% of company executives insist that strengthening organizational leadership is a top priority. And yet, less than 5% of businesses have implemented leadership development at all levels. Of the small number of companies who do have leadership development initiatives, only 10% of executives think that those initiatives have a clear impact on their businesses. That's right, a whopping 90% think they're ineffective. To bring this dismal briefing to its conclusion, 56% of companies are not ready to meet their leadership needs, and 71% don't believe their current leaders are capable of leading them into the future. Pretty bleak, right? Well, don't throw the towel in just yet. There is some hope. You see, for companies that do have mature leadership development strategies, the number facing a leadership gap falls to just 49%. Now let's be clear, that's still a crisis. But compared to that 77% across the board we mentioned earlier, that means that doing a good job of developing leaders can make a company 45% more likely to avoid the leadership gap and come out of this unprecedented crisis alive and well. So, with that in mind, let's dive into this training. Our course is going to consist of a series of critical discussion points. These are designed to cover this broad topic as thoroughly as possible, to encourage growth in these vital areas, and to facilitate a real and fruitful discussion within your organization about how you can each improve on these essential characteristics both at work and in your personal lives. Some of these will be pretty lengthy, and some of these discussion points will be relatively straightforward and brief. At the very end of this roadmap comes the most important final step. Discussion time. Do not skip this. This is the most important part of this training. When you finish this course, you need to spend at least an hour or so going over the questions we supply at the end as a group. Whoever's the head honcho in the group should designate a facilitator whose responsibility it is that each question is covered and that everyone, time permitting, is able to have their say. Make sure all contributions are valued, all suggestions considered, and all opinions respected. So, let's move into the first discussion point. Lead by example. Effective leadership involves showing, not just telling. If you want your employees to do what you want them to do, then you should set the tone and demonstrate how it should be done. Excluding yourself from your own rules is a surefire way to lose your employees' respect and make you unlikable. Practice what you preach, even if it's just for simple guidelines such as being professional or always being on time. Never stop improving. Great leaders are constantly finding ways to improve themselves and find new skills in areas that they can learn and master. You should be open to the opportunities that come your way to achieve greater heights and pursue new possibilities. Prioritize growth and constantly challenge your team to be better versions of themselves. Be goal-oriented. Don't focus too much on the details and always keep the big picture in mind. Create a list of personal, team, and organizational goals and come up with a definite plan and strategy to achieve these goals. Direct your team's focus and energy into prioritizing urgent or crucial goals. These goals shouldn't be static. Instead, periodically evaluate them to adjust as needed. Keep in mind that when your goals and expectations are clearly defined, your team members can better understand the end result that they're working towards as a unit. Furthermore, it's easier to monitor progress and determine failures and successes. Take responsibility. True leaders do whatever needs to be done. However, when things go wrong, you shouldn't point fingers or play the blame game. You should take responsibility for your team's actions and choices and their results. In doing this, you'll show that you're worthy of your team's trust and respect. Nonetheless, this doesn't mean that incompetent or reckless behavior from a team member should be swept under the rug. It just means that when mistakes happen, you don't assign blame or offer up a scapegoat. Instead, you identify the source of the problem, come up with a course of action to correct the situation, and prevent it from ever happening again.